Hello, everyone. John Johnson here, and I'm back for the oral report on the measure phase of my Six Sigma project, standardizing study habits to reduce last-minute cramming session. This is for Dr. Helen Joyner's quality management class at the School of Food Science at WSU UI. So to reiterate, my problem is last-minute and late-night cramming sessions. And these are a problem because they're just not effective in my own opinion. They disrupt my schedule and interferes with my sleep. I like to get my sleep at night and I hate cramming for things and it gets in the way. It takes away from my family time. I am married and I have a 12-year-old stepson, so I have a little bit of responsibilities at home that I need to take care of. And then I found a couple of studies and academic reports that show that late night cramming session or a lack of preparation results in lower GPA and it reduces learning. So not only do I think this is a problem, but other people have done studies that show that it is an actual problem. So for the measurements for the last 4 or 5 weeks, August 30th to October 6th, so 5 weeks, I just used a simple check sheet in Excel to record the number of hours that I studied each day based on which class it was and the amount of time. And then I wrote comments about what kind of work I was doing. And I wrote whether or not I was cramming. So for this week of September 25th, 4 hours on a Tuesday, cramming for an exam for food micro. So just real simple stuff. And then at the bottom of each week, I totaled the number of hours spent. So this week, you can see I spend about 14 hours working on my chem lab stuff. So that's just nuts. That's way too much time to spend on one class, but that's what I do. And then at the end of the 5 weeks, I just took it and I totaled it. How many hours were spent in food chem, how many hours in chem lab, micro lab, and 475. And then I also totaled it by the day, but I didn't show that here. So, yeah, that was basically my data collection. And then just ways to show my data. Here's a simple pie chart based on classes. So you can see easily that 475, micro lab, and chem lab take up most of my time. My food chemistry lecture took up a little bit of time. It's because I had a research paper for that I had to write. So it took up a little bit of time, and then I'm basically not studying for food micro, the lecture at all. I mean, I've spent 4 hours studying for an exam, and that was it. So that obviously is a pretty simple class. Then I decided I wanted to break it up by the type of homework. So I found out that my lab reports from food chem and food micro lab taken up about 60 hours over the last 5 weeks. Lecture reports, this is for the research paper in chemistry, in food chem, and also reports for this class, taking up about 30 hours. And then general homework, quizzes, exams, and then just turning in regular assignments takes up about the same as my lecture reports. So as you can see, a large portion of my hours spent studying is doing my lab reports, which is not surprising considering I'm in 3 separate labs this semester. So because I'm trying to reduce cramming session, I had to break them down. So chem lab quizzes, those were because I forgot about them and had to do them last minute. Micro exam, like I said, I spent 4 hours studying for micro and I just crammed for that. I don't know why. That was stupid. And then 475, the 3 hours I spent doing that one Sunday to get my homework turned in. I should have done that on Saturday, but I chose to do something else on Saturday or whatever, So I ended up having to do it last minute. It's defined as last minute if it's due that day and I haven't worked on it before. So that's what happens. And the important thing with this is there's no reason for any of these to be here except for that I chose to procrastinate or I forgot about it. So I think I can get rid of these without too much issue. So I made a Pareto chart, which sure enough shows that I have 3 big classes that are accounting for most of my time. This is no surprise. They're lots of lab reports, lots of research to do for them, looking up resources and things like that for these classes for my micro lab and my chem lab. Then 475, I think part of the reason why it's fairly high is because we don't hold a lecture class, and so I'm doing it all online, but that's just the way it's showing. So it's showing I'm putting a fair amount of time, and these are all really evenly distributed in the amount of time that they're taken, so they all contribute equally to the problems I'm having. And then my 2 lecture classes, yeah, look at that, not a problem, surprisingly, because I thought I was better at lecture than I was at labs, so we'll see. And then I did one more chart, and this is total hours over the last 5 weeks, each class, and so every class that I worked on Mondays, and then the total hours I spent on Monday. And the reason why I like this is because I can see that I spent, over the last 5 weeks, 30 hours on Mondays doing homework, which is fine because I only have 1 lecture class on Monday, so the rest of the time I can spend it on my homework. But the good thing is I can see that most of that time went into doing my chem lab. So if I can set a schedule where Mondays is for doing my chem labs, and it's when I can do it all, then I don't have to make a lot of changes. A little bit of time will be taken out of these other days, but I can do it with very little changes to what I'm already doing. And that one I like. Here we have my micro lab. It's kind of spread out between Friday and Saturday, but I can probably get it all into one day and have it work out, or leave it the way it is, whatever. But this tells me how to change things with and not have to make massive changes. So why wouldn't I keep chem lab on Mondays? Because I'm already doing the majority of it on Mondays. So I decided to do a cause and effect diagram here. Again, my problem is last minute late night cramming sessions, not studying enough, and it just comes down to my busy schedule and having too much stuff going on, which may or may not be true. I feel like I'm busy. Other people don't think I'm as busy as I say I am, but I always feel like stressed out about stuff that's going on right now, and I think it's probably has to do with the time of year it is. Not using time wisely when I am studying. Again, every time I sit down to do my homework, I always find out that it's the perfect time to get on Facebook or Instagram or whatever and just waste that time. I still come up with excuses, like the time I had to cram for my homework for 475. It's just because I did something else on Saturday instead of doing that. And so I'm like, yeah, I can go to Spokane today, sure, no problem, because I have tomorrow and I can do that. So I'm still good at making excuses. And then I'm still lazy. Senioritis, it's kind of a real deal. I didn't think it was real, but it turns pretty real once you realize that, hey, I'm almost done, and all I have to do is pass. I'm not looking for scholarships anymore. All I need to do is pass, and suddenly, guess what? All I got to do is pass. So hopefully my grades don't reflect that, but they might. So what I've done here is I've filled out a schedule for when I'm going to work on my homework, and I've dedicated about 10 hours on Monday, if I need it, for the chem labs. And I generally spend about 8 hours a week, so maybe I'll have a little extra time, but Monday, you can see I've dedicated it to my chem labs. Friday is when I've dedicated my 7-8 hours for my micro lab reports that I have to write every week. My 475 here, I've got it from 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours. I found out that it's taken more time than I thought it was to do this, so I need to up the amount of time that I'm spending on it. And then there is a little time here on Wednesday when I can study my food chem if I need to. I do have exams in that class, so I guess I should study. I have an exam this week, so we'll see how this works out. But anyway, the other thing I've done is down here from 7:30 to 9 p.m. I put in that I can have some free studies time. Generally, once dinner's done and we're at home for the night, I find that I can do some more free study time. Sure, I have extracurriculars that might go into here, but if I use this time wisely and stick to this schedule, I should be able to get all of my homework done. Now I have my measurement report due. written report due here next week. Collect data until November, do some more reports and determine if they've been made. And hopefully by December, voila, it worked. Thank you.